I am so excited right now. I mean, this show just went through the roof. It just hit a 10. It hit a 10,000. We have such an incredible guest joining us on the show. She's a major champ, one of the most consistent players on tour, and currently gearing up for the KPMG Women's PGA Championship down in Frisco, Texas. I think it's a little warm down there. A lot going on this week, but yet still found time to join us here on the show. Please, let's give a nice, warm Dan's Golf World Show welcome to the one and only Brooke Henderson. Hey!
Let's go! All right.
Brooke, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing down there in the Texas heat?
Oh, it's very hot, especially for a Canadian. It's very hot,
Yeah,
but it's amazing. This event is so cool, and I'm so happy to be here.
little different world from the cool Canadian air, I imagine. Well, I got to ask you a couple of questions. You know, Fields Ranch East is pretty new to the circuit of pro golf. I'm just curious, your sort of early look at it. What are you seeing? What might cause some challenges for the players out there this week? What's your take on this course?
Yeah, I'm super excited to be playing here this week. I got to see all 18 holes this morning in my pro-am. Had a great time out there with some folks from T-Mobile. And the course is going to be challenging. The wind is up and it's blowing. So I definitely want to be practicing some low shots out on the range to get dialed in. But I think, the biggest thing is trying to hit a lot of fairways, trying to hit lots of greens, giving yourself those birdie looks, and trying to capitalize when you can. But I think, like any major championship, you're gonna have to have all parts of your game working, physically and mentally.
I could only imagine. I mean, for all of us common folk, average hackers out on there, the golf course, I mean, I don't think any of us can even imagine the level of pressure and what those situations are like that the pros, like you guys all, deal with week in and week out. So here's a question I have for you. I get nervous even if I play through a group, if there's, 4 extra people watching me. So for you, do you have a process that sort of quiets that down, that gets you centered when, the pressure situations are, coming upon you?
Yeah, it might sound pretty simple, but I just try to focus on exactly what I'm doing right in this moment. And then the next right thing, like the next thing that I'm going to have to do. And I just really try to keep those two things in focus. And that helps me kind of drown out a lot of noise, a lot of, other thoughts going on in my mind, and also things going on around the course that could be distractions or could take you out of that moment. And, I think I also try to go with the energy of the crowd. So if I
Mm.
make a couple birdies and the crowd is really happy and has nice energy, then I try to ride that a bit. But at the same time, just trying to stay in the mindset of what do I need to do right now and how can I do that? And then let's try to execute that.
I like that idea of you allow that outside energy in when it's positive, but otherwise it's just sort of like a solo headspace and kind of
Right.
staying in your moment of this shot, the next shot, where I'm at right now. And I think that's a great thing. I mean, so many times we could all get lost in our heads. We start imagining the gravity of any situation we could be in on the golf course, in life, and that can start to send you spiraling if you don't just say, I'm here, I'm now, let's make a good shot. I love that. The one thing that keeps coming up on the broadcast, and I can't help but think about, and as we just discussed, is this heat. They're talking about the mid 90s this week. I'm curious about your on-course game plan when it comes to heat. Are you bringing extra snacks? Are you hydrating? Are you trying to walk a little slower? Like, what do you do when you're playing, in this level of heat?
Yeah, just trying to drink a lot of water, a lot of electrolytes, trying to, pack those extra snacks and trying to make sure that you're eating them, even though sometimes with this heat you don't really feel like eating, but it's so important to keep your energy up. And my sister, she caddies for me, and I'm a little concerned for her, but it's so hot, but she always does amazing, and always is able to, be such a great caddy even in the heat. But she's really strong and really brave to be lugging that bag around this week.
It's going to be a little extra heavy with some additional water bottles in there, I imagine.
Yes, for sure.
So obviously this week we know T-Mobile is doing so much out there on the course, from sponsoring free coverage to bringing additional tech on the course. They're doing a ton, but also for yourself working with T-Mobile, could you talk a little bit about the importance of having those strong brand partners as you're out there on tour and traveling and doing what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so proud to be part of the T-Mobile family, and with Nelly, another ambassador, and just the amazing ambassadors that they have. and just all that T-Mobile is doing for the women's game and for women's golf is so important. You know, they're taking what's being done on the men's side and bringing it to the women's side, and that's just a huge step forward for us. With all the technology, the Champcast presented by T-Mobile this week, with extra data and highlights, and as you mentioned, the coverage. You know, just anytime that we can be seen more and it can show off our skills a little bit more, I think is so good for the growing of the game. And so I'm just really proud and happy to be an ambassador for them, and I'm excited to see where the future takes us.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I do feel like we need more eyeballs on, the player that the women golfers in the professional golf space. I was just up at Erin Hills a couple weeks ago watching, the U.S. Open up there. And it's so impressive and it's so fun and it's so exciting that it's inspiring. I mean, it doesn't matter where you are in the game. When you watch the best in the world do what they do best, you can't help but want to head out to the range, go book a tee time, do something and get out there and play some golf. But for us regular golfers, you see a lot of amateur golfers, hacks like myself and the rest of us. Is there any piece of advice that you would share with a regular golfer that maybe they could do to simply improve their game? Is there something you're seeing? You're like, hey, all you guys, maybe kind of adjust this and it could help a lot.
I'm not sure. I mean, golf is so hard.
Yeah.
There's so many things that go wrong that it's maybe hard, just like a general thing. But I mean, I feel like I just played a pro-am, and I feel like the number one thing, again, super simple and boring probably, but like just to have fun and enjoy it. It's such a
Yeah.
fun game to enjoy with friends. Food and drinks, and you're just spending time socializing outdoors. It's just a really good game for you. And I think if you can just find that great group of friends and go out and hit this little white ball around, it's pretty fun. And I think the only way to really get better is just to practice a lot,
Yeah.
but that's maybe not right for everybody.
Well, for yourself, I mean, you talk about the fun of it. I think you're right. As we do start to practice, we set all these expectations on ourselves. And sometimes the fun can drift because you hit a shot that wasn't what you drew up in your mind and all that. And then we get frustrated and we hit our club on the ground and all that. But for yourself, do you find it, do you still get to enjoy the fun of golf or pursuing it at, the highest level like you've been doing for quite some time? Do you still feel the fun of the game?
Yeah, again, you have to kind of remind yourself sometimes, when you're in the grind and you're working really hard and maybe you're not seeing the results that you would like to be seeing at that point in time. You're kind of like, oh yeah, I get to do this for a living. I get to, play golf and travel around the country and travel around the world and play amazing golf courses. And, sometimes you need to take that little step back and realize this is an amazing life and I'm really grateful for this. And then just try to really enjoy the moment. And I mentioned playing with friends, and I get to play with the best players in the world every single week, who I consider friends now. So it's a cool life, and I'm just trying to make the best of it.
That's so incredible. I mean, if we could all have one giant takeaway from this, guys, to remember, golf is fun. We play it because it's fun. Well, Brooke, thank you so much for joining us. I know you've got an action-packed week. You've got a major that you're prepping for right now. So thank you so much for carving out a few minutes for us. Have yourself an awesome weekend and try and stay cool if possible out there.
I will try. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Good luck. Thank you. All
Thank
right.
you.
Brooke Henderson, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's go.